uh, conservation of mass by using Cartesian coordinates. So if you know that all the physical laws, they are applicable for system approach. So we know from our thermodynamics knowledge as well that mass is conserved for any system. So it means that for a flow field consisting of a system, the total mass of the system would remain equal to during that flow. So rate of change of mass would be equal to, for the system, would be equal to 0. And then we can use Reynolds transport theorem to convert the system approach into control volume approach. So in that we have got two terms. The first term, if you can see it on your screen, that is the time rate of change of that mass within that control volume, and the second term, that is the inflow and outflow of the mass through that control volume. Now if we consider a Cartesian coordinate system, in that we will take a cubic element. So in this case we would have six faces. So if we talk about at the moment, if we first of all, if we want to write this first term, so because we are considering infinitesimally small control volume, so for that case, the rho would not depend upon this integration. So it would come out of this. So if you remember that I kind of draw this cubic element on the whiteboard in the last class. So we can start from here. So the first term we were discussing here, that was partial by partial t rho into dv. So there, because now we are talking about infinitesimally small control volume. So rho would be constant in that infinitesimally small control volume. So it would come out of integration, and then we can write partial rho upon partial t into dv. Now dv, for this case, we know that this cubic element has got the volume which is equal to partial rho upon partial t into del x, del y, and del z. So these are the three dimensions which are also shown on this in this figure. So now the second term we need to determine, that was just a minute. So that was control surface rho into v and v dot v dot n, so v dot n dA. So now if we talk about only in x direction, so in the x direction, if we see that we have got two faces, so first of all we need to determine that what is this quantity, this whole quantity at this face, and what is the quantity at this phase. So if we look here, that if at the center, if we have got rho u at the center of that infinitesimally small control volume, if the rho u is the product of density and velocity, so if we want to take it at the face, at the right hand side face, then as we discussed in the last class, that we can use Taylor series. So for Taylor series, that is, if, I think I discussed that in the last class. So let me write it again here. F of x plus dx can be written f of x plus df upon dx into dx, right? So we are only considering the first derivative term. So if we apply this here, so here the function value is rho u. So we have written rho u plus partial by partial x into rho u into the distance between that point, the center, and the right face is del x by 2. So that is written here. And then there is a multiplication of surface area because m dot is rho u into area. So that del y del z, that is the area through which the mass is going out. Similarly, we can find the this way the mass value here, so that would be equal to rho u minus partial by partial x into rho u into del x by 2 and then into del y del z, right? So it is a little bit small, I have written it, but it is shown in a clear manner on the lecture slide. So we can see that we can find the value at the right face by using Taylor series and as well as at the left face. Okay, so now if we want to determine this term, so we know that we have to do v dot n. So if you remember that n is the unit vector which is pointing outwards. So for this case, on the right hand side face, the angle between this mass flow rate and this velocity vector and the unit vector would be 0. So that would be a positive value, and here it would be because n unit vector would be going outward and this velocity is coming in. So it means that at the left hand side face, the angle is 180 degree. So it means that if we calculate I have discussed about this inflow mass and outflow mass. So now if we write the net rate, so if you see that this term which is on the right hand side which is going out, that is written as a positive quantity, and the term which is on the left hand side, that is being subtracted from the first term. The reason for that is because v dot n, if v dot n is the angle between the velocity and the unit vector outward, that is 180 degree, then that dot product would be cos of 180, which is minus. So that minus comes out to be here. We can write it like minus rho u. And then if we do the simplification, we can easily see that rho u would be cancelled out with rho u, and then here we have got del x by 2 into this quantity, and the same quantity is here. So minus into minus plus. So del x by 2 would become equal to, if we add del x by 2 plus del x by 2, so it would become equal to del x and del y del z, that is the surface area through which the mass is going out in the x direction. So that is the net rate of mass flow in the x direction. So if we write that here, class is being, please come at 11:30. Okay. So if we write it for the x direction, or so for the x direction, it would be equal to, as it was written here, that was partial rho u into partial x into del x del y del z, right? So but if we look at this control volume, because the flow is considered to be three-dimensional, so it means that the similar kind of a term would be for the y direction, and it would be also for the z direction. So if we kind of drive it again on the same pattern as we followed for the x direction, that net mass flow out in the x direction. So similarly, if we try to find it for the y direction, it would be partial rho v into partial y into del x, del y, and del z. Similarly, for the z direction. So for the v direction, partial rho w upon partial v into del x del y del g. Right. So now if we put it in the Reynolds transport theorem, so Reynolds transport theorem was this term, which is let me call it equation 1 and equation 2. So now let me write that conservation of mass principle. So for the system as well as for the control volume approach, that would be equal to dm of system by dt is equal to partial by partial t rho into dv. This is volume over the control volume plus control surface rho into v dot n dA. So this first term would be taken from equation 1 and the second term would be taken from equation 2. So and the left hand side would be equal to, if we know that left hand side would be equal to 0 because the mass is conserved during any flow for a system. So if we put those values, we can write, if I take it on the right hand, so we can write it like this: partial into partial t rho into partial 1 partial t rho into del x del y del t plus partial rho u upon partial x del x del y del t plus partial rho, sorry, partial rho v upon partial y del x del y del v plus partial rho w upon partial v del x del y del v is equal to 0. Is equal to 0 because the rate of change of mass of the system is equal to 0. Now if you see the equation carefully, we can see that this del x del y del z, that is the differential volume of that control volume that is varying in each term. So we can take it common. So we can write it like this. Yes. Anything you want to add? Okay, so now we have got two terms. One is this first term, which consists of four terms, and the second term is the volume. So now we have been kind of a situation where A into B is equal to 0. Now this whole term, that is A, this whole term, that is A, and this is B term, which is volume. Now we know that differential volume for a fluid element cannot be 0. So it means that this term, which is being multiplied 8, we call it A term, that is making this equation equal to 0. So we can just write it like this. Partial rho upon partial t plus partial upon partial x rho u plus partial upon partial y rho v plus partial upon partial v rho w equal to 0, right? Now, if the flow is steady, for the steady flow and compressible as well. If the flow is steady and compressible, then because for the steady flow, we know that the rate of change of dash t with time would be equal to 0. So we can write this equation like, or first of all, let me write this equation into a vector form. So in the vector form, I can write this equation, a partial rho upon partial t plus del rho v equal to 0. V is the vector, velocity vector, right? So if the flow is steady and compressible, then we can write that in that case, partial rho upon partial t would be equal to 0, and we can write, just a minute, we can write, maybe I need to use black pen. So in that case, we would have rho v equal to 0, right? So that is the case when the flow is steady and compressible. Now, if the flow is the second case where which is encountered in practical situation, that is when the flow is steady and incompressible. That is the kind of liquid flow through pipes. So in that case, because now rho wouldn't be depending upon x, y, and z because the flow is incompressible. So we can just say that del dot v is equal to 0. So if I write it in component form, so here I can write partial by partial x rho u plus partial by partial y rho v plus partial by partial z rho w would be equal to 0. And here, if I write it in the component form, so that would be equal to partial u by partial x plus partial v by partial y plus partial w by partial z is equal to 0. Right. So now for the case of steady, the first term equal to 0, and then the second term is further simplified if the flow is incompressible. In that case, flow wouldn't be a function of x, y, and z because the flow is incompressible, and then we can write it del dot v. Right. So okay. Is there any difference between the first equation and the second equation in terms of solution? This equation, which is the first equation here, that is non-linear equation because the variables are being multiplied, the dependent variables are being multiplied. So its solution would be quite difficult. But this equation, this is a linear equation, the second equation. So its solution would be quite easy. So that was the case for the conservation of mass for the in the Cartesian coordinates. If there is any question, you can ask. Otherwise, we can continue with the rest of the lecture. Is there any question? So it seems that everything is okay. So now we can also derive this equation in terms of cylindrical polar coordinates. So if you remember from your basic statics and dynamics knowledge, that for the cylindrical polar coordinates, the velocity vector depends upon r, theta, and z direction. So for that case, if we can do the derivation, which is not going to be shown here. So if we write the final form for the continuity equation in the cylindrical polar coordinates, that is partial rho upon partial t plus 1 upon r into the first term is the mass flow in the radial direction, the other one is the mass flow in the angular direction, which is as we will depend upon the theta, and then in the z direction, which is the out of the bore direction. So that is the third term. So again, for this these cases, if the flow is steady flow, then we can write, we can kind of take the first term equal to 0 and then write the other three terms, and on top of that, if the flow is steady and incompressible, then rho also comes out from each equation. So now we can write it in a much simpler form, because now rho is not a variable which is depending upon radius and theta and z direction. So we can also use the cylindrical polar coordinates when we are the basic application of cylindrical polar coordinates are the flow through pipes or flow over spheres and things like that, three-dimensional bodies. So in that case, we need to use other coordinate system like cylindrical polar coordinates. So for that case, the flow is flow equation can be derived on the same principle as we did for the Cartesian coordinates. Okay, so now we continue with our next topic, which is stream function. Okay, can anyone tell me what is streamline before we go on to that topic? Anyone? What is a streamline? G. Nufail, are you there? Or Hashir?
Yes, sir.
G. G. What is streamline? ये तो असाइनमेंट में पढ़ा था ना हमने.
Yes, sir. Can I tell you?
Yes. Yeah. So it was the question was in fact for the entire class. So anyone is welcome to participate. Yes, Hassan. बताइए.
Sir, when the fluid is flowing in the certain direction, then it is following a certain path.
Yes.
The path that is followed by the particles, we can say that it is a streamline.
Yes, and the velocity vector is always tangent to that streamline at each point.
Yes.
So it means that
Yes, sir.
no fluid particle can flow across the streamline. So it cannot cross the streamline, it would move along the streamline. So that is the definition of the streamline. So for cases that when we have got steady, if the flow field is steady and then incompressible and two-dimensional, if the flow field is having these characteristics like steady flow field, incompressible and two-dimensional, then the continuity equation that can be written like from here, if we see that it was for steady, incompressible and 2D, then the third dimension, which is partial W by partial Z, that would be equal to 0. Then in this case, the equation would be partial U by partial X plus partial V by partial Y is equal to 0. Now you can see that we have got one equation and there are two dependent variables which are u and v. So for steady, incompressible and two-dimensional flow field, we can use a function which can replace this u and v velocity. So it means that common function. What is the advantage of using that function? In that case, the dependent variable only becomes equal to 1 in this case. So now we would see that what is the definition of that stream function. So let me scroll it a little bit. So stream function is defined by a symbol we call it psi. So that stream function is defined in terms of u and v, like that u is equal to partial psi by partial y, and v component that is equal to minus partial psi upon partial x. Now, what is the point? What is the reason to define this stream function? That is that it can satisfy the continuity equation for two-dimensional incompressible flow, steady flow, and it would. First of all, we need to see that whether this function it does satisfy the continuity equation, which is written here. So if we put the values of u and v in the above equation, then we can write it partial into partial psi upon partial y divided by partial x plus partial upon partial y into minus partial psi upon partial x is equal to 0. Right. So now if we kind of write it in a proper form, in that case it would be partial scale phi upon partial x into partial y minus partial scale phi upon partial x into partial y is equal to 0. Now you can see that the first term is equal to second term, so it means that phi, which is the stream function in this case, does indeed satisfy the Navier the continuity equation here. And the advantage of this is that u and v are replaced by a singular function rather than two velocities. So now we need to see that what is the why we call it stream function. So if you remember that for any flow that let me roll it and then we discuss it here, that why we call it stream function. So if we have got a streamline like this, so here if there is a streamline, so if we define a velocity vector at one point, so it would be tangent to this like this v, and it would have two components. One is x component and the second one is y component, u and v. So for the streamline definition, we know that the slope of that this velocity vector, that would be equal to dy upon dx, that would be equal to v upon u. I hope that you learned this, that the slope of the velocity vector, v is the velocity in the y direction. This v is velocity vector, and this v is velocity in the y direction, and u is the velocity in the x direction. So it is like this. So now we can see that how this stream function value can be related with the streamline. So if we take 2 points along a streamline, so along a streamline 1 and 2. So if we want to, because it would have some value of stream function here, and it would have some value of stream function here, phi2 and phi1. So if we want to know that what is the change of stream function value during these 2 points, we can write it in this form, that phi2 minus phi1 phi2 minus phi1, that would be equal to d phi, and that would be equal to partial phi by partial x into dx plus partial phi by partial y into dy, because it is two-dimensional, so field, so phi is also function of x and y. So whatever the total change in phi, that would be the partial change in x and the partial change in y. Now, if we remember that partial phi by partial x, we know the definition that v is equal to minus partial phi upon partial x, and u is partial psi upon partial y. So if we put these values here, so d of psi would be equal to minus v into dx plus u into dy. Now, if we are talking about a line, if we say that it is we are talking about the points 1 and 2, 1 and 2 lies on a line having same or constant stream function value. When we say that we are assuming here that 1 and 2 they lie on a line having same stream function value, then it means that d psi would be equal to 0. And if we put d psi is equal to 0 here, what happens? That if we put 0, so from here minus d dx plus u into dy. Now from here, if we calculate dy upon dx, which is the slope of that line having constant stream function value, that would come out to be equal to v upon u. So if you recognize that it is the same slope which was obtained for the streamline, so it means that we can say that along a streamline, the function value, the stream function value remains constant. So it means that it helps us to kind of draw the streamlines on a flow field if we know the function value, the stream function value. So that because we all know that okay, so let me do that, and then we would come back to this numerical. So we discussed this, that why we define the stream function because it reduces the number of dependent variables from u and v to one variable, which is psi in this case. And along the streamline, the stream function value is constant, as we have seen it from here. When we do that, because we know that for a velocity vector, the slope of that velocity vector is v upon u, which is along a streamline. So if we kind of find the value of the slope of the line along which stream function value is constant, that also comes out to be equal to v upon u. So it means that uh, the line which has got constant stream function value, that is basically the streamline. So it means that we can draw the streamline by using the constant stream function value. And for a particular flow field, we can draw as many streamlines as we want. If you have ever had a chance to use ANSYS software, we can, you know that we can draw as many streamlines as possible as we want along a flow. So that only depends upon that we need to give that option in the software. So streamline, why we need it? Because it is used to, it tells us that how the fluid is, which direction it is taking along the flow. And now this stream function value, that is constant. Okay, now before we move further, I missed a numerical which I should have done for the continuity equation. So let me do it and then we move forward. So the velocity component of an incompressible two-dimensional velocity flow field, they are given by u is equal to u is equal to y square minus x 1 plus x, v is equal to y 2x plus 1. So we need to show that the first one is that the flow is irrotational, and then the second one is that it satisfies the conservation of mass. So okay, now it means that we need to, let me first of all, if we so let me show that velocity components here. So these are the two velocity components. So first of all, we need to to determine that whether the flow is irrotational. So because it is a two-dimensional flow field, so it means that we only need to get the value of omega z. So omega z, we know from our previous week's knowledge that that is equal to 1 upon 2 partial v by partial x minus partial u by partial y. So partial u upon partial y. So if we do that, so first of all, what is the partial v by partial x here? Partial v by partial x would be equal to 2y, and then partial u by partial y would also be equal to 2y. So when we put it here, so 2y minus 2y, that would be equal to 0. So it means that the flow field is irrotational. And then the second bit which we need to find here, that is show that the flow satisfies conservation of mass. So for the two-dimensional flow field, we know that conservation of mass, which is del dot v, that is equal to partial u by partial x plus partial v by partial y. That should be equal to 0. So now if we determine partial u by partial x, that would be equal to partial u by partial x would be equal to, if we see from here, that would be minus 1 plus minus 1, okay, it would be minus 1 plus x, I think, if I am right. So or and then partial minus, not okay, just a minute. Let me do it.
uh,
No, it would be if I write u like u is y square minus x plus 2x plus x square. So if I take the derivative here, partial u by partial x, that would be equal to 0, and it would also be minus here. Sorry, it should be minus.
so minus 1 minus 2x.
Yes, it would be minus 1 minus 2x. Minus 1 minus 2x, right? And then similarly, partial u by partial x, and similarly we can find uh, partial v upon partial y. Just a minute. Partial v upon partial y, that would be equal to uh, 2x plus 1, right? So this is 2x plus 1, and this is, so if we put those values here, that would be equal to minus 1 minus 2x plus 2x plus 1. So if we, okay, just a minute. Beta, what is your name? Arsam Istikhar Hafiz. Can you please switch, mute your mic? Is it Arsam? Okay, let me mute you. Mute. Because there was some disturbance and there was some background noise from your end, so I have muted you at the moment. So if we see that, that would be equal to 0, because this would be considered with this one, and minus 2x would be this. Okay, so that was one miracle which we needed to do. Now we come back to the
Sir,
yes.
सर पार्शियल u by partial y देखिएगा कि 2x नहीं आएगा.
Okay, ji. It is partial v by partial y, first of all.
सर जो ऊपर आपने दो लिखे हैं, पार्शियल v by partial x जो है वो 2y के इक्वल है, और पार्शियल u by partial y जो है
जी, partial u by partial y किसके इक्वल होना चाहिए?
2x के इक्वल है ना जी?
बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हैं. पार्शियल नहीं, पार्शियल u by partial y तो 2y नहीं होगा. I have got a class. Please come at 11:30. Okay. So partial u by partial y. Beta, please state your name so that I can address you.
Hassan Mustafa.
Ji, Hassan Mustafa. If you look again, partial v by partial x, that is equal to 2y. ठीक है, ये यहाँ तक समझ आ रही है हसन?
Yes sir.
And then partial u by partial y, the first equation, that would also be equal to 2y. Why
yes, sir,
should
yes,
be because I think
yes.
you are confusing it with the second equation.
Yes sir,
So
yes sir. Sorry sir.
it should, no, that's fine. That is completely fine. There is no need to apologize for this because you have got a confusion. So it's better to clarify it at the same time. So I am happy that you asked. Okay. So now going back to the stream function concept, as we have discussed, that along a streamline, the stream function value remains constant. Now, the change in stream function, that is closely related with the flow rate through the flow field. How is that? We can the actual numerical value associated with a particular streamline that is not of particular significance, but the change in the value of stream function, which is d psi, that is related to the volume flow rate, or the we can also call it mass flow rate if we multiply it with the rho value. So here, if we calculate the volumetric flow rate between streamlines, now you see that we have taken two streamline here. One streamline which is on the bottom side, that is having a value of stream function, that is phi, where the mouse cursor is, and then the upper streamline, the value of stream function is phi plus d phi, which is the change in stream function values as we move from one streamline to other streamline. Now, if you see here that we have taken an arbitrary cross section AC, and then it has got we can also divide it into two segments, which is AB and AB, which is equal to minus BDX, and BC, which is equal to U into dy. So we are talking about flow rate, so that's why we volumetric flow rate. So that's why we have the area, the other unit width. We are talking about unit width. It means that the width into the board, that is 1. So because u into area, it should be area, so dy into 1. So 1 is not written here. Similarly, minus v into dx into 1. So 1 is not written here because the flow is going downward. It has got this negative sign, minus v dx, and similarly because it is going into the positive x, so u into dy. So if we kind of apply the conservation of mass here, we can easily see that dq, which is coming in, that should be equal to the mass which is going out. So that would be equal to u into dy minus vds. Why there is minus? Because the velocity direction is in this direction, so minus vdx. So now we know that dq can be written in terms of now u is equal to partial psi upon partial y, as we have done on the previous slide. Similarly, v is equal to minus partial psi upon partial x, so that minus would be cancelled with this minus, and it would be equal to plus. And if we see it carefully, the right hand side of the second equation, that is equal to the change in stream function value along a streamline. So dq would be equal to d psi. So this is the total change in stream function value. So whether that is along the streamline or across the streamline. So here we can see that dq is equal to d psi. So it means that if we have got the direction of flow in the negative x, then maybe the function value on the downstream, on the bottom stream function would be more, and the upper stream function would be a little bit less. So, but here because the flow direction is positive, so the stream function value is more on the upper streamline. Right, so it means that volumetric flow rate, which is velocity into area, that can be determined by using the integration of this. So if we integrate both sides from one stream function value to the other stream function value, we can get the value of volumetric flow rate. Yes, any question? Ji beta, any question? So I think we have covered the stream function and continuity equation in this class. So there are a couple of numericals we need to do. So we would do that in the next class. So as we discussed for the conservation of mass principle when we were deriving at the continuity equation, that continuity equation can also be derived for cylindrical polar coordinates. So similarly, the stream function can also be defined for cylindrical polar coordinates. So here the stream function in terms of radial velocity and the angular velocity, which is v theta here. So that they are written here, and we can how we can calculate the velocity or from a stream function value. We will see it in the numerical problems, which will be done in the next class. Okay. Before we go, Hashir, are you there? Hashir. Hassan, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I think Hashir is not available at the moment.